And we're on. So, first pod in Melbourne, and we've got an absolute banger for you. We're starting with Ben from Byrd Electrical. So, welcome, Ben.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate the opportunity.
No, awesome to have you here. And we're staying in Port Melbourne, and we were talking just off camera just before, and I was like, I'll get this Airbnb that's got a cool backdrop. You can see the city from one side, you can see the beach from the other side, but it looks like there's too much glare, so we've got the curtains up.
Yeah, that's it. Could have done it anywhere, mate. Could have been in a dungeon somewhere.
I know, and it wouldn't make no difference. But anyway, so Ben, welcome, mate. You're from Byrd Electrical. Tell us, who are you and what sort of work do you do?
Yeah, sweet, man. So yeah, basically residential service company. We've been going for about 10, 12 years now. Got a small crew, about 4 other Sparkies. Admin, and yeah, we just dominate the residential space.
Okay, beautiful. So there's a few things there. You said 10 years in the industry and loving it, hating it. Where are you at?
No, loving it now, man. I think at the start was a bit of a weird time for me. Like I was just saying yes to everything. And kind of my most profitable work was sort of project stuff that I didn't really enjoy. So as soon as I realized like you could make good margins in the resi space, like I was on. Like it was a new game for me. I was keen as. So
you came from projects?
I sort of did a bit of resi in my apprenticeship, but once I went out on my own, I just kind of noticed like that's where I made the money, those sort of bigger projects if I could get them. But it was sort of, it was hard to replicate, hard chasing cash. It was hard to sort of grow. You need a lot of capital to kind of grow. But then, sort of speaking to a few people, realizing you can make good margins in the resi space, which is the work I wanted to do. I found it more rewarding. Once I realized I could make profit doing that, I was all in.
And cash flow is better?
Yeah, way better, mate. And you're not chasing builders and, all the other fun and games that comes with the other stuff. So,
and I think people get desensitized as well to chasing money and all of that stuff. They think like, well, that's just the way it is. But like, I don't think that is the way it is. Like, we do, COD. So, straight away we get paid upon completion of every job. And I think we'll have it for you. Like, do you think that's the only way to sort of run your business? Of course, you got your count customers as well. Real estate, body corps and things like that might have 30 days. Some have 90 days, but Matt, if you're doing 90 days, I think you got to really load it, eh?
Yeah, definitely. We still get the odd project where it kind of creeps out a little bit, but yeah, 95% of our jobs would be same thing. You pay on the day. There might be 1 or 2 that slip through, but an occasional account customer. But yeah, predominantly like we're cash flow positive. Like we're
beautiful.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's the best way to run your business, right? Because then you can, do stuff. You can grow it. You can, you actually have options to do things, right?
Yeah, 100%, man. Like it's nothing worse when you're not sure, if you're going to make wages or if you're going to be able to pay your suppliers this week. Like, we even just quoted about a 16K job. We just requested 50% up front from the customer. So we're cash flow positive day one. So yeah, there's, you don't have to always offer credit.
Yeah.
It's not expected from everyone. So yeah.
And that I think it's in the industry. It's just like, oh, I've got the job and they don't want to ask for money. Like, do you reckon do you find people are scared to ask for money?
Yeah, I think it is a bit of a mindset thing. Like even chatting with our boys, at the start, it was a bit like, oh, it's a bit weird to ask for payment. I'm like, how many places, do you go to the supermarket? You expect to pay, right? Like you go to a restaurant, you expect to pay. Like it's just a mindset thing. So once you sort of have that analogy in your mind, then it's like, well, it doesn't hurt to ask. Like we can still be a little bit flexible with some customers, but you can ask. Like most people are prepared to pay.
Oh, mate, I absolutely love that, 100%. And also, it's about educating the staff as well. It's like, well, the money does have to come from somewhere. It doesn't. You've probably heard that. Obviously, everyone's heard money doesn't just grow on trees, or the government's not going to save you or something like that. At the end of the day, for that ecosystem for the business, it comes from the customer, into the company and then gets distributed out.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's super important to have it come in. And being in the industry for 10 years, what I'm seeing a lot because I speak to electricians every day, I'm seeing a lot of electricians that are not potentially vibing the industry, or they're leaving. Why do you reckon that is? Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are probably struggling. And to be honest, like I was early days, just kind of understanding like how much you need to charge and, understanding the business side of things. Like there'll be a lot of guys out there, I got no doubt, because we see like we lose jobs to people undercutting all the time. Like there's just no way they're making money off it. So I think that's a big thing. Like a lot of people are realizing they can just go on wages and have less headaches. But at the end of the day, I think they're not interested in investing in themselves, getting education, getting coaching, and charging what they need to charge so they can actually have a good life and make decent money.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah, I think you're bang on. I think what I see is you got electricians, they're on wages, and then they think that, oh, but look how much the boss might be making or something like that.
Yeah.
But they don't understand that the boss has to spend, I'll put my hand gesture. So if someone's listening and they probably won't see it, but they've got to probably spend this much to make this much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. That's it, man. Like we had the same conversation with guys. Like, we sort of hit the $1 million mark not too long ago.
Awesome. 7-figure Sparky.
Yes. The guys were like, you must be killing it. I'm like, no, like our break even's like this, and they were shocked to know that number. And I would have been too in their position, but it's just, it's a bit of education and understanding the numbers.
So educating the staff is super important to understand the numbers behind the business. Is that what you guys do in your toolbox talks?
Yeah, definitely, man. We're very open with our sales. Like the guys see the whole sales for the company. Very big on it, being open and having the conversations. We don't hide anything.
That's awesome. I think that's the best way to move forward, because I think a lot of the old school way was, no, don't tell them anything, and oh no, the staff can't know how much I'm charging, and it's just like, well, how do you expect to grow your business, right?
Yeah, 100%, man. You just won't be able to scale unless the boys are out there quoting and invoicing, and to do that, they need to know the numbers. So
100%, and I think you're in like the top, I'd say top 5% of Sparkies out there that actually have delegated your staff to replicate your sales process, because most business owners are very much for, I'm the boss, I quote, right?
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Yeah, no, there's same thing. Like you can't scale the business that way. And at the end of the day, like if you want to have a life and be able to take time off, if it all comes down to you're the only one making money, bringing money in, then like you're not going to go real far. I think you're going to burn out pretty quick as well.
100%.
And like, to be honest, the guys want that authority and they want that like ownership too. So I think it just kind of kills people's motivation as well. Like give them responsibility, let them make some mistakes like you did, it's just I think it's a mindset thing, eh?
Yeah, don't micromanage. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. You're not a micromanager?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think a lot of people are scared to for people to make mistakes, and it's going to cost money or whatever. But I think like in the long run, it costs way more to just try and micromanage everyone and then limit everyone's growth, man.
That's great. I absolutely love that. It's so true. It's so true, because I think what people are scared about is actually holding them back. Like that's pretty much what you're saying. You know what I mean? So, thinking that your staff, because potentially staff as well, not everyone's a good sales. We'll touch on that word sales actually. Let's touch on it now. Like the word sales, is it a scary thing?
Look, I think if you've never done it before, like I remember when I first went to doing the flat rate model rather than just labor and materials, when I first presented that, I was like, my heart was pounding, but once you do it a few times, like it becomes very natural. Now I like enjoy it.
For sure. And like, is sales a dirty word?
Oh, definitely not, man. Like you need to make money. It's business, We're not a charity. Like you gotta make money, and people want to get paid. Like staff want wages. Like that's money.
That's it.
So,
yeah. And that's a beautiful thing. I think a lot of people get awkward when they hear that word sales. And at the end of the day, what sales means is just mainly converting jobs into paying customers, right? And no one wants to hear no, like, or rejection every day. And it's just like, oh, but this person, I didn't get the job. I don't know why. And it's just like, well, they think, oh, but the customers are tight ass, or we've got some American members that call them Peter customers, pain in the ass customers.
Yeah, right.
Peters.
Yeah.
So I like that. But it's just like, maybe they weren't Peters, maybe they weren't tight asses. Maybe the sales process wasn't there. Like, do you agree?
Yeah, 100%, mate. I think that's a big thing. Like, obviously, like me and the team have all been through your sales training, and just going in with that like clear mind that, don't have these preconceived ideas of what a person will and won't spend. that's not our job. Like our job's to present options for the customer, provide some education, and then from then it's up to them what they want to spend.
So don't assume that if they're poor or broke, or you can't assume, right?
No, exactly. Like I've been into many houses, and like we're all guilty of it. You like have these preconceived ideas, and then they go and spend a couple grand because they really love this light fitting, and that's exactly how they want it. Like you got to have an open mind.
My biggest one's hoarders. I don't understand, but for some reason, hoarders tend to spend a lot of money on their house.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what it is. Like obviously I'm from Sydney, and because a lot of people are like, oh, but Spyro, the sales strategy won't work in my area. It's like, mate, it works in Mount Druitt. Everyone in the world knows where Mount Druitt is, in Australia at least. It's a rough spot, and we can all say that because it is rough. And it works. It works as long as there's humans in your area. Like, I think that's just a limit. What you tell me? Is it a limiting belief that it won't work in another area?
Oh, definitely. Like, yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that, like, it won't work in their area. But it can almost be the opposite. I find sometimes it can be harder to sell in the really affluent suburbs. Like people have more time to shop around, and so and maybe don't respect you as much. But
yes,
so but probably both are limiting beliefs. You got to go in with an open mind, and just your job's to present and educate, and then the client can decide whether there's value or not.
Yeah, let the customers, and that's what it is. Like, sales doesn't have to be pushy, doesn't have to be high pressure, and it's nothing like that. It's all about conveying value to the customer, right?
Yeah.
And giving them options, and not assuming that what they want. Like, it's just like when I do debriefs with people, like, it's very easy to see where the sales system kind of goes wrong. Like, you got to have certainty, but also, like, I've heard of Sparky just saying, like, no, you don't need this, or why would you get that done? Or, you know what I mean? If they get like an alternative quote, like, that is the nature of the beast, but there are ways that you can, make sure that you secure that job on the spot. And I think, providing that service, like, how important is, like, if you are providing a quick service, like a high quality service, and charging a premium, how important is it to actually do a premium job as well as charging more?
Yeah, definitely, man. Like, you've still got to deliver. Like, it's all good and well to kind of know what you need to charge and you're making profit. But at the end of the day, like, if the customer's not happy, there's still, you're not going to go far. Like, we talk about it all the time. We got to talk about, like, team happiness. We got to talk about profitability, but it's also customers. Like, they're the three kind of pillars that we talk about with every decision we make. We got to factor those three things into it.
It's about the whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
Staff, customers, company, like that. Everyone's got to win. You know what I mean? Just because you get the job, it doesn't mean they lose out. You know what I mean? Everyone wins, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think it would be a bit empty too. Like, if you finished a job and the customer's not, like, satisfied as well, like, we still want to kind of walk away with our heads held high as well, with the customer being happy. So we still strive for it. You're not going to get it 100% of the time. There's always going to be, like, little issues along the way, but
sure.
Your reviews will speak for themselves at the end of the day. Anyone can jump online and say what they want about you. So,
I'm spewing. The other day we got a 1-star because one of my staff was speeding in the car and cut someone off. And
that's rough, eh? That's rough.
And I was burning, but it happens, right? It happens. I was like, they said 001 Ollie cut me off, running. I was just like, oh, you are kidding.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
So that's the thing. We train our staff. We have truck etiquette systems, but the ball was dropped. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But shit happens. What do you do? And it's unfortunate because it wasn't for our service. It was for, like, a out of hours driving complaint. So.
Yeah.
What do you do? But anyway, we're in Port Melbourne, and do you service this area? What areas do you service?
Yeah, we do most of Melbourne, just because it's how it's worked out with where the boys have been located. But predominantly we're Bayside Melbourne. Probably like 70% of our work. But we do service most of it. But we were talking before about really, like, a tighter service area does make more sense. But yeah, that's just.
And why does it make more sense to have, like, to not go Melbourne wide, or go even all the way to Geelong, or go somewhere? Like, why is it? Why do you think
it's just maximising your billable time, I guess. And if you're driving around, you're not making money. So at the end of the day, like, if we can tee up our jobs to be close together, which comes down to scheduling and a good scheduler as well. But which we do a pretty good job at. But yeah, that's sort of the key. Hey.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like, people say, talking about off camera, like, because in Sydney's big, Melbourne's big, they're big cities, so like, a lot of people, so a lot of service area, a lot of traffic,
Yeah.
and especially if you're running a team, like, if your guys are sitting there between jobs in traffic, like, that hurts, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I think we calculate our like in the service industry, like you're only sort of 50% billable. So the more you can maximize that, the better. Like it's pretty much going straight to your bottom line. So yeah, it's a big thing.
I just want to touch on that because you said 50% billable. Now I made a post on this, I don't know, maybe a couple months ago, on TikTok and Instagram, and as you do, everyone's got their opinion on it. And the amount of people that were coming back saying, "Well, you don't know how to run a business if you're running 50%." Hey, this is the service game. Like,
Yeah.
what do you like? What you like? Can you sort of go in deeper on that? Like, what do you mean by billable hours at 50%?
Yeah, like if you work out how many, like you just take a 38-hour week and you work out how long you're actually chargeable.
Yep.
In the service game, the numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
It's basically 50%. You can hopefully make slight improvements along the way and try and filter out some tire kickers, but at the end of the day, like you got downtime in our game, and you got to factor that into your pricing.
Oh, I love that. I love everything about that. So that's why that 2.5. Would you agree that 2.5K per day per truck model is like where it needs to be at?
Yeah, 100%. That's it. Like we don't get it all the time, but we're getting there and we're pretty close. And
awesome.
Yeah, the numbers don't lie.
Exactly. And some days you might be upper. So like I think you said you have a was it a 12 grand job booked in for tomorrow?
Yeah, maybe a bit bigger than that. Yeah.
Sorry, I was doing you dirty. Sorry, it was a bit more. Doing you dirty there, cutting it down. But yeah. So it was what 30? Well, whatever it was.
Yeah, it was about a 16K.
16K. Okay, that did definitely cut it down.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
16 grand. Okay.
Yeah, it was a little bit heavy on. That's like a bit of a pillar upgrade, so it's a bit of an unusual one. A little bit more heavy on materials, but still profitable. Good job.
For sure. And in Sydney, we've got a level 2 service, which allows you to get a contractor to essentially work on the lines. But in Melbourne or Melbourne, as the American listeners would say, you guys don't have a level 2 service here. So what would you have to do to sort of get that pillar upgrade?
Yeah, so basically anything on the kind of supply side, we have to engage the supply authority to do it, which is split into like 5, City Power, Powercore, United, all those guys. So pretty much we're governed by them, and it's a bit of a pain in the ass trying to deal with them because it's just another person you got to try and liaise with. They set their rates, they set like their time frames and everything. So you're just a bit of a pawn in their game sometimes. It just makes it difficult,
And you got to kind of sell that their charge out rates to the customer as well, right?
Yeah, well that's right. Like if we can't meet height requirements for mains upgrades, we've got to go underground. We've got to get a pit installed. So they charge about 8K for a pit.
Wow.
Things like that makes it a bit harder. But at the end of the day, like I guess everyone in Melbourne's in the same boat. So is what it is.
It's interesting. Do you see that changing ever, or
I don't think so. I think we're in too deep. I can't really see it changing, to be honest. But
do you think? I'm not sure if you've been to Sydney. Look, from what I've seen, because I've been driving around as well. Went to Hawthorn, went to the suburbs here and there, and it looks like the quality of construction is pretty up there here. Would you agree, or is it like, well, obviously that you've got the TikTok inspector would say, I'm talking about the older stuff. I'm not talking about the new stuff.
Yeah.
I'm talking about if you look at the old churches and stuff, if you look at the brickwork on so many houses I drove past, I was like, oh, like I love all that old English stuff. You know what I mean? It's weird because obviously I'm a WOG and I'm just like, that is mad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, WOGs normally like concrete everything and render everything. Me, nah. I grew up in a very Anglo sort of area with those sort of heritage style buildings, and like the brickwork and stuff, it looks amazing. Is there a lot of that in Melbourne?
Yeah, I think there is. I think they're getting better at sort of, keeping the heritage and, putting overlays on things, but you still, I don't know, you still see a lot of shoddy stuff in the newer stuff. We go to a lot of like apartment buildings and stuff, and it's like, oh, we've got this defect list we're working through and all this stuff. So I don't know. I think it's up and down, hey, the industry.
Yeah, so it might be the older stuff that might be, maybe that's where they took pride, but maybe people want to take pride in their work in those construction sites, but maybe the margins, well, you tell me, do you reckon the margins allow you to take pride on those, say, project home builds. I mean, I speak to so many electricians in Melbourne. I just want to make a public service announcement. $50 okay, I won't say it. Does $50 a downlight supply and install work?
There's no way we'd make money on it. No
okay,
way.
how about ready for it? If the downlight's $4.
Still. Yeah.
Because that's what I hear nonstop.
Yeah.
They try to convince me. I'm like, man, that's why respectfully you're reaching out to us because your numbers aren't working currently.
Yeah.
And they go, but bro, I get the downlight for $4. I go, I don't care if they're paying you.
Yeah.
They're supplying you the downlight. It doesn't. So $50 a downlight supply and install does not work.
Nah, no chance. Like we'd be over double that.
Yeah.
Well and truly.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I think too, like, I don't know, maybe there are people out there doing like the building game really well, but like I tried it. I couldn't make money. And then as soon as we kind of got to a point with the builder, like he just said, you know, we had a good relationship, but then this was like maybe 5 years ago. Then he eventually just had someone come in and do it for literally half our price. And I was like, man, we're only just making money at that rate. So it's just like, yeah, we don't do any of that anymore.
As I say, look, like there are some good builders out there, but most builders are looking for the next idiot. And I say that with respect because I was that idiot once upon a time. And that's when I found the service game. And I think, look, no one wants, like, they've got this thing as well, like, oh, I don't want to rip off the customer, but it's like you don't know your numbers. So you're saying that big company down the road that, you know, everyone's talking at the pub and talking rubbish about is charging ludicrous amounts. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But I'm saying majority of the time, they're probably not. You know, they're probably paying their staff better. They're probably taking home a profit. They can have a nice house, have a nice car, have the things that they should have in life. Because they've understood that if they want something, then it must come through the business. And look, at the end of the day, if you have margin and if you have profit, you can actually make more mistakes. Like it sounds a bit weird, but if you have a higher margin, there's more room for error. Like, would you agree? Like when things do go wrong, because when you're running stuff and stuff, shit happens, right?
Definitely. Like, yeah, you can write a book on the shit that goes wrong, like just stuff like you can't even think of, you know, like, but that's part of it. Like we don't work on computers every day where you can just click delete. Like things are going to happen. Stuff's going to get scratched. Things are going to get dropped. Like that's just life. And that's got to be paid for. Like,
marble bench top's going to get cracked. I've got a list. Like,
yeah, that's it. The shit happens, eh? Like you gotta have a bucket in your mind of like, okay, you know, this goes to those sort of stuff ups and people make mistakes, you know, we're human. So
people, like staff make mistakes, clients make mistakes, and material make mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's not always your fault. And of course, you know, it's not always the staff's fault. Like like sensor lights, smoke alarms. Like even we put in, I remember there was a batten light replacement that was less than 6 months old and it was a good brand. And it was Sunny. Like we use Sunny. I won't even like it was a Sunny. I was like, bro, but 6 months, like, you know, you got to pay someone now to then, you know what I mean? So this is why pricing for profit is so important. And you know, that I think when people go into that project sort of work, they're just so used to being bankrupt and starving for that next payment that they convince themselves in their head, when I get that next payment, then it'll be sweet. Like, do you think that's the rat race, the hamster wheel? Yeah,
I think so. And I also think so, like it comes back to what we were speaking about before, like how billable you are. Like if you're on a larger job and, you know, maybe you are 70, 80% billable, you can't charge the same rate if you go into someone's house doing service work. Like the numbers, like they can't be the same. It just doesn't make sense.
So construction rates. So when construction Sparkies go into residential, you're saying they can't charge the same rates?
Oh, 100%. No way. Hey, like, what are your thoughts?
100%. 100%. And I think that's the big issue because they go, the service Sparkies are rip-offs. Like, I would never charge my customers that. It's like, all right, bro, that like you're not making money, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like
exactly.
The service guys, and I don't know why people brag about being cheap. Like why would you brag about being a cheap Sparky? Like, that's ridiculous. For me, it makes no sense. We're competitive, and what we say is we're the cheapest in town for what we do.
Yeah, that's it. Like we still strive to give people more value than they pay. Like, but you know, whether it's cheap or expensive, like, that's at the end of the day, like the market will tell you. You know, like if you got work, you're charging the rates that you need to, and you've got work. You know, then enough said. Like the market will tell you if you're no good.
Yeah. Without a doubt. And I 100% agree. I think at the end of the day, it comes down to what, you understand your break evens and you understand what the minimum you can charge is, but that doesn't mean what the maximum is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And some parts of the job can be more lucrative. So a switchboard, you can load up a bit more, right? Because look at the value, the lifetime value. You put in good stuff. You're putting fire sealing on. You're doing the job well. You're putting warranty on it, and it's a product that they're not, replacing every day. So do it once, do it right, charge a premium, happy days. Like we've got certain items that we do make more lucrative in there, so we can, and it's good. Like we spend our time, we charge enough, we allow enough time to do the job properly, make a profit, and everyone's happy. Like what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, I mean, it's not an exact science quoting. There's going to be jobs you're going to make a bit more on some things, a bit less on others.
Yep.
Like, how long does it take you to get a cable from A to B?
Every house is different.
It varies. So like you can always bring it back a little bit or give the customer a slight discount or throw in some freebies. It's hard to go the other way. You can't add stuff on at the end. You're like, oh, that took longer than expected. I'm going to charge you an extra 200. Like customers like, too bad. I agree to your quote. So
100. That's and for me, that's what I feel is unethical.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if you have a flat fixed price, they've signed, you've signed, this is the agreement, this is the contract, right?
Yeah.
You honor your part, but if it goes south, then that's on you.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's why we price for profit. And touching on with the construction guys, I think that's what happens a lot of the time. The construction guys, they, and the problem is the construction guys. I don't know if you maybe you are aware of this. They're not coming up with their own rates. They're getting dictated to by the builders.
Yeah.
What are you saying that? So they're getting dictated to. Is that happening?
Oh, 100%. That's happened to me before. I just don't think it ever makes sense for your customer to tell how much you, can you imagine going to a car dealership? Oh no, I'm going to pay you this much for your car. Like they laugh at you, right?
I want to buy this Porsche 911.
Yeah.
I'll give you, 100,000. What's $500,000, sir? Yeah. No, 100. Take it or leave it.
Exactly. Like it just never makes sense. So, but I think like people just become a bit accustomed to it. Hey.
Yeah, and that's right. And then the problem is, when the builders are putting out, $50 a downlight, $40 a PowerPoint, things like that, then they're going into a residential service setting or to a real estate body corporate strata setting and going, I'm going to charge the same rates. And then they go, but this job took me this, so I just charged $50, but now I'm driving to the next job. I've just lost that. Now I've got a callback, and I'm essentially, in my head, I'm working off 20% margin, which it's not. It's not on those construction rates, definitely not 20%. And then you got a call back, you got to send somebody back to fix it. Well, there goes all your margin.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? That you so-called thought you had, right? And I think I see too many electricians get stuck in that, get complacent in that. And I think they accept that's just the way it is, right? That's what the way it is. So you put your, so you pivoted from that sort of projects to the service, and then you've got your staff also selling. How did you, because I remember saying one of them was the Mustard King. I remember that. was that right?
Shout out to Leon.
So shout out to Leon, because we have these Zooms where we did sales trading, the 6-week sales system, and there was one of Ben's employees, Leon, put as his name on Zoom with the Mustard King. So I've just got that saved in my memory as the Mustard King.
Yeah, that's it. We still call him now. I don't know where it come from, but anyway, that's it.
I'll roll with it. Yeah. Shout out Leon. And how did your guys go? How did they perform after going through the training?
Yeah, no, like we definitely had an uplift in sales. Like everyone. So one of the boys had done some training with us before, and I had done some previously as well. But still, I learnt so much. Just kind of reiterating and understanding like customers and different personality types and all that. We just got so much out of it, man. What I love is you've done quite a bit of mentorship as well. Like you've gone, I'm going to check out what this guy has got to offer. I understand the curiosity. Like I commit to at least 1 to 2 programs every year for myself. I've got mentors, in Australia and in the USA. I love it. Like for me, I just can't get enough of it. What sort of has made you sort of look out to outside help instead of doing it yourself? Yeah, I think I sort of got to a point where I was just like, I don't feel like I'm making the kind of progress and getting the results that I wanted to. So I really had two choices. Like I kept like trying to just go it alone or reach out and get some help. And like you can try and go on your own and maybe you make it. But I think I look back now and I don't even know if I would have gotten to here without like getting some support.
Oh, I love that. I'm the same.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I'm the same. And in actual fact, we've got my first mentor joining us on our closed members Zoom in 2 weeks' time as well, right?
Yeah.
To share his knowledge. So like, and that's the thing. Like, I think I would have probably been stuck in that rat race, and being a driven individual, getting dictated to by builders and accepting it, like that's what it is. And I think a lot of guys I speak to, they're just like, but it will be fine eventually.
Yeah.
Like somehow it's going to fix itself. What do you think it ever is going to fix itself?
Yeah, let's see. It's like the definition of insanity. Hey, it's like doing the same thing every day and thinking just magically one day it's going to change. Like it just, yeah, you can just fast track your success. You get the right people around you, and like still even with like our team and employees, like without them, we're nothing, you know? So it's like, yeah, you need good people around you, and it's just going to fast track your success.
No, I love that. I love everything about that. I'm 100. It might sound a bit biased, but I'm 100% in agreement with that for sure. Because I think you don't know what you don't know, and you've got to be forever a student, and also humble. Be humble as well, because it's like when people go out on their own, I think there's this. I've said it before, but there's like this overwhelming confidence on how good they're actually doing.
Yeah.
Until they kind of see like what other people are sort of doing. You know what I mean? It's just like, well, you're doing these numbers, but there are people doing this. Like, like for instance, like we're very big on 40K per month per truck as the minimum target. And people are like, oh, but sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. But I'm like, you got to be hitting that every month. And with saying that, we've got guys hitting upwards of 70 per truck per month. I'm not saying that's the minimum, I'm saying that's awesome. You know what I mean? That is awesome. But that's not the minimum. But the minimum needs to be at that 40. And I think people think we're just pulling out these numbers. Like they are based off real numbers, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah, you just cannot. The financial side of business, you just cannot lie. Like,
yes, numbers don't lie.
If the money's not coming in, like it won't be there at the end of the day. So yeah, you can try and fool yourself, but at the end of the day, like your bank account won't lie.
And I think I love that. You can't fool yourself, but also like I think people think, because it's a technician in us. It's like, I will fix it. I know what I need to do. I know what I'll need to do. Well, have you been able to do it in the last 5 years?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then what happens is, I think that's when they start saying, oh, and they play the victim game, right? Oh, but everyone's a tight ass and they'll never pay it, or my clients will never accept a quote like that. Well, if your clients won't accept those pricing, well, what do you say to that? Like,
yeah, like I think there are, yeah, you're right. There's kind of two mindsets out there. It's like you're either blaming all the external stuff, or you can start looking internally and saying like, oh, maybe it's me. I'm the common denominator here.
Yes.
I need a change. I need some education. I need some coaching, some support. Like you say, like there's people killing it in this program. I'm seeing the numbers every day. Like
in that Facebook community.
Yeah.
You're gonna see him tonight. We're gonna be going to the what was it? Meat Maiden.
Meat Maiden. Your shout apparently.
Yeah. Sparky Sales
Beers
Systems.
Are on.
That's it. Beers are on. Beers are on.
Spyro on the record.
Yeah. It's there. So yeah. So we're gonna be hosting a dinner for our Melbourne members, which is I'm super pumped. We're gonna be doing more stuff. So we want to go to Gold Coast. We want to go to where our members are. We want to go there, host events. It's good, network, see what other people are doing.
Yeah, I think it's actually really important. Like you can be a bit lonely sometimes as a business owner. You're trying to like find maybe your friends don't quite understand the stuff you're going through. So it's good to connect and talk to people that kind of understand where you're at and what you're going through, and share ideas. Like
100%. You don't have to be so. And it's so funny because most of the people that are like close with they hold their cards close to them, are normally not doing as well as they think. But
that's right.
They're like, oh, this is my secret client, or they pay me $20 more an hour, or whatever it might be. And it's just like, man, they don't even have it. I think it's that old school mentality, and I think there's so much more room to sort of grow. So I'm super pumped for Meat Maiden. And I've actually got a question for you. Byrd Electrical, where did that name come from?
Yeah, it's not a great story, but
share.
I wish I had something better. I'm gonna make something up better actually. But no, I wanted Be Wired when I first started.
Yeah.
Just some sort of terrible pun, but everything I could think of was taken. So I just went with BYRD.
Yes.
It's kind of like a ridiculous abbreviation, but everyone just calls it Byrd. So
well, it runs well. I thought it was like a but then you became a member, and I was like, it's not your surname.
yeah,
I was like,
everyone's like, Ben Byrd. And
Ben
I'm like,
Byrd, yeah.
yeah, sure, that'll do. Like,
that's what I was thinking. I was like, it's got to be your surname or something. But no, it wasn't. But that's cool. That's cool. I like that. I like it. It runs real well. Anyway, it looks good. Logos look good. You're doing stuff on socials now, which is awesome as well. So guys, you got to definitely follow Byrd Electrical on Insta and Facebook. I like that because that's the exact way that we like to sort of showcase your work. You know what I mean? I like exactly what you're doing. It's awesome. And like, what are your future plans for Byrd Electrical?
Yeah, we kind of want to get to 10 vans on the road. That's my next kind of big goal.
Awesome.
And then maybe look at putting in like a general manager or sort of stepping back a bit. But yeah, that's sort of the next big goal.
I love that. I love that. 10 trucks, Melbourne. That'll be Melbourne wide.
Yeah. I'll have to change it.
Yeah,
actually, my mate's got Melbourne wide electrical.
Melbourne wide electrical. Small world. There you go. That's your mate. So 10 trucks. That's awesome. That's awesome. And keep smashing it in business and keep going from there. So now that's awesome. And do you have any closing statements, Ben, for like the Sparkies listening in? What you think they should do more or less of, or a message for all Sparkies out there?
Well, yeah, I've got a few thoughts, but you're probably better off speaking to it than me. But I would say, like, try and learn from other people's mistakes. Like, you got to make your own. But, that's, I think, the key with getting coaching and being part of these groups. Like, I can't tell you how much money I've wasted on like marketing and shit that just doesn't work. And then it's just like you didn't have to be that hard. Like I could have just spoken to you, like, you hooked us up with flyers and magnets and created a bit of a marketing strategy for us that, it's just like you can waste so much time and money on this stuff. You just don't have to. Like,
well, we tell you exactly what works, right?
Yeah, that's it. The numbers, man. Like do this, do that, bang. And then it's,
do that. I love that. It is exactly that. So lead gen doesn't have to be scary. And people, I love that you mentioned that actually, because a lot of guys are like, oh, I've been burnt by a marketing agency that promised this many leads, and and then they don't commit to even mentorship and coaching because of that, because they feel like they've been burnt by a marketing company. It's like, we're not a marketing company.
yeah, that's it.
We do have some service in the back end if you want that, but we only offer that to our members. And we don't push it. It's just if people want those services, we have them. But we give all our members, if they want like an exact marketing plan to go to 1 mil, 2 mil, 3 mil, whatever it might be. And some people just want to have a truck, kill it, and be on their own, which is cool. Some people want 2 trucks, 5 trucks, 10 trucks. And, it is that marketing that's going to drive that growth. And marketing isn't a scary thing, as you probably, or is it a scary thing?
Well, I think it's like there's just so much noise around it. And, like a lot of people just think like marketing's like Google ads and Facebook ads, but it's so much deeper than that. And getting the right advice is just critical. Like you can really, it's true. It's the growth behind your business for sure.
Oh my God. I want to continue on this for a second because someone goes, like, I hear this all the time. They go, because we've got like 6 onboarding rates. We've got a lot of inquiries for Sparky sales systems, and we've got a 90% onboarding rate, which is absolutely awesome. It's fantastic. Because we're just obviously like a no BS sort of approach, and like too often we hear from the onboarding reps that people are like, the ultimatum is, I'm not sure if I should do Google ads or Sparky sales systems. You're laughing, right?
Yeah.
Crazier. Sorry, I won't even say it. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I don't like. It's not even a comparison. Hey, like there's just I don't know where to start with it. Like it's
it can be dangerous. Like, I'll just say that.
I want like I'll give you my number to pass on if people are thinking of joining. Like I love to talk, and that's why everyone's like, oh, am I going to get a return on the investment? I'm like. And you don't even like, that's not even the right question. You know what I mean? Like, you'll just learn stuff that you don't even know about. You don't even know what questions to ask yet.
Yes.
Like, and that's part of it. Like, what is marketing? Like, we'd have a pretty low budget really, like compared to our numbers. So, companies will say, oh, you're going to spend 10% or 20%. Like, we wouldn't spend anywhere near that. And we like just pulled back a bit because we were like, got too much, we need to sort of hire another person soon, so we'll pull back a little bit and then go again. But.
Sure. And what I loved about that as well is like, you don't need to have a big marketing budget, right? That's what that shows. You know what I mean? If you do it strategically and do it well, you don't. And the budget that is assigned to marketing. It doesn't have to, it could be $0 down as well. Like we've got guys that just do accounts. 90% of mine's B2C, 10% of my business is accounts. I'm not by name. I'm not an account sort of guy. I'm like the old school fashion service, like handshake deals. Like this is what we're gonna do. This is it. Like just that mum and dad sort of. Do a good job. Premium service. We don't want to be the cheapest in town because that's no fun. Our customers don't want us to be the cheapest in town either. I was talking to you off camera. We've got a very high return customer rate as well, especially being a B2C service, and that's because we're a man. We're a man. I'm a handshake guy. If I give you my word, like that's what it's going to be, and that's how Olympic runs. That's how Sparky runs as well. Sparky Sales Systems runs, but I think with the Google Ads thing as well, and people going, "Oh, I'm just going to run ads." It's like, man, you don't like rule number one in business is sell it for more than you can buy it for, and you can't even tell me how much you can buy it for. Right?
Yeah, that's it. Like I don't know, I was speaking to someone about it the other day, and it was like, if everyone was like killing it on Google Ads and you just had to pay some money and run some ads, then everyone would be doing it, right? Yeah. Like it's just, people are paying like upwards of $100 a lead.
$100?
Yeah, man. More.
It's it was $100.
Yeah.
If you're in Melbourne or Sydney or even New York, because we've got, remember, like New York is very, very high.
Yeah, right.
And it's what. Oh, well, yeah. Well, look, basically, New York, you kind of like have to be a home service company because the cost per lead is so high that you sometimes lose money on the front end, but then you make money when you sell them on the back end. You sell them aircon, sell them plumbing, sell them electrical, sell them alarms.
Yeah.
So on the back end service.
Yeah.
And Australia's a little bit behind, but that's where it's going to be. And you got to pay to play at the end of the day. So, the one that can, charge more and maybe more profitable, and the one that can actually afford it sort of wins. But with saying that as well, that's why it's so important getting the right advice, because we haven't ran a Google ad in my company for the last 4 months to prove a point.
Yeah. There you go.
Like, where are we getting our leads from? You know what I mean? Like, just to prove a point, I was like, guys, you do not need ads. Yeah, sure, I've spent millions on it in the past. Yeah. and that's not like, been in business for a bit. So like,
we run a few Google ads, and I can tell you it's our worst performing marketing.
Oh my God.
Easily. Like we run a little bit.
Second that. It is my also worst performing marketing as well. In terms of ROI cost, because through cost of acquisition, booking to then conversions. And if you see the dollar cost of that as well, you're going to be like, it is probably the worst. Does that mean not to do it? No. Does that mean to do it? No. But like, for the right person, it is situational, but just to prove a point, it's not just Google ads and go, right?
Yeah, well, that's it. And like, I don't know if you want to go into this, like couple of lead gen strategies. We've had like awesome results just by like dropping into places or, meeting people. Like,
do you do BNI?
We don't do BNI. I probably should, but that's kind of, I don't know. In my mind, I've got a bit more flexibility if I just do it on the run and meet people and call people. And that's still like, that people person to person thing, that's still marketing, right? Like
it is.
You buy
$0 down.
Yeah, exactly. And like we had a $30K job out of a packet of Tim Tams and a capability statement. And like it's unreal. Like, you don't have to spend heaps on marketing, but you got to do it right. You got to do the right things, and you got to be consistent with it. So and that's the same thing. Like it's, if you're out there thinking, do I do Google ads or do I get coaching? Like that's the answer, you need someone to tell you, no, you don't have to do that. You can do it this way. And then maybe once you get to this level, then you can do Google ads or whatever. But
I had a guy the other day. Oh man, I should just put my phone calls to to you guys. I had a guy the other day that goes, well, I'm going to market. I can't remember if I said this story on the really nice guy in Melbourne. He says, I'm going to market. I watched a podcast and I'm going to now market. He saw Charlie Mullins, who's Pimlico Plumbing. I'm not sure if you heard of him. He sold his business in London for 150 million pounds, all B2C. Yeah. So he had not one account customer. Wow. Now everyone's like, all right, I'm going to get rid of my builders. I'm not saying to do that. I'm not saying to get rid of all your real estate and strata.
Yeah.
His business was sold for just under 150 million pounds. Pimlico Plumbing, you can look it up. It was a home service, plumbing, electrical, the lot, air, HVAC. And and then it got acquired by Neighbourly, which was an American mob. And that's what's happening in America. Private equity's coming in and sort of buying up good businesses, and everyone thinks they've got a good business
Yeah.
because they've worked hard for 30 years in their business, mate. That means nothing. If the numbers aren't good, no matter how long you've ran your business for, private equity look at the numbers, and if it's not good, they're not going to spend $1 on it.
Is that your sort of prediction? What might happen in Australia one day?
It's happening already.
Yeah.
It's happening already. Yeah, I'm in a few other groups as well that it is happening, but it's a lot slower here.
Yeah.
The mindset's a bit weak, but it's going to come and they're going to monopolize it. It is 100% happening here.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. So there already is Americans looking at acquiring some pretty big companies, and they're home service. They're B2C.
Yeah.
They're not, people think Stowe, Heyday, all those sort of companies. I'm sure like a different dude would probably purchase them, but like those mum and dad customers are so valuable because the multiples are so high.
Yeah.
Because you've got a database and that's where the value is. But this dude listened to the podcast with Charlie Mullins, and he goes, well, he was targeting all the high end areas of London and charging a premium service, and that's why he sold for such a big multiple. He goes, so I'm going to target Toorak. I go, but bro, you don't even know how to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, how what's your charge outs? What are you doing? And what's your script? How are you going to close the customer? How are you going to market to that person in Toorak?
Yeah.
He goes, I'll work it out. Bro, you won't.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I think that's like kind of the chicken and the egg. Hey,
Yeah.
It's like if you're gonna, and you've to go back to Google, like even if you are paying $100 a lead, and if you're getting there and then you don't have a good sales system in place, you can't upsell. Like you're just not going to make money.
Yeah.
If your average sales like $200-300, like there's no way you're making money on it.
No
So
way.
it's like,
No way.
you got to have these things in place to even think about like marketing, right? Otherwise, you're just going to spend money and you're not going to get it back.
Yeah.
Like I did. Like I made the mistakes.
Yeah,
Like, it's part of it.
And you're in business to make a profit. You're allowed to make a profit, loud and proud. You should be. It's irresponsible not to as well. So if you're thinking that, well, you can probably add on to this as well. Like if you think there's going to be a whale client that's going to magically save that, I say this all the time, but it's just, I really want to drum it in. Like if you think somehow, $110 is going to save the day, it's not. If you think somehow a whale client is going to come in and save the day, it's not. If you think the government is going to magically come in and give you a stimulus check, they're not. Like it's up to you at the end of the day to lift your standards, take initiative, and it's irresponsible not to take initiative in your business. Like, would you agree on that?
100%, man. So I was saying before, like you can look externally and kind of wait for everything to happen, but at the end of the day, like it starts with you. You got to have the right mindset. You got to get the right people around you, then the magic can happen, mate.
Love it, love it. On that note, I reckon we'll end it there. Ben Byrd Weston.
Thanks, mate.
Ben, appreciate you coming on board. Coming to the pod as well on short notice. If you guys know me, I'm a very I just think of something. I'm like, hey, do this. Like this was, I think, like less than a week's notice, maybe a few days. So I'm like, I'm like, hey, I'm coming to Melbourne on this day. Are you available for a pod?
Yeah, man. I love it. I appreciate the opportunity, man.
No, awesome. And I'm super pumped to see your progress. Super pumped to see you get those 10, keep growing the business, get up to those 10 trucks, and go from there and keep growing. And who knows, maybe a private equity exit.
That's it, mate. Let's see. Thanks, mate.
Awesome. Cheers.